Swamp Thing, Green Hell, issue 2, Jeff Lemire writing with Doug Mankey on the art. It has been so long since issue 1, at least a year and a half, might even be close to 2 years. I think we checked when it was solicited for issue 2, but it was really good. We loved it when it came out. We praised it, basically to the high heavens. Art was phenomenal. It was this dark story of a post-apocalyptic world where it was mostly water, and this little village at the top of a mountain were being extorted by pirates, and when some of the villagers attacked back, the head pirate dude went into the water, and the parliaments, the red, the raw, and the green, basically want to kill the last of the human beings off because they've ruined the world, and the world can only start healing again once all the humans are gone. So they take this prick who's went into the water and is dying as their new avatar, and he becomes this monstrous evil Swamp Thing and started killing everyone. And then the end of the story of issue 1, I'm just recapping this for everyone, is the little girl who's the main character in the story with her father. She goes off with this old guy who's there to protect her to the lighthouse, this little island with a lighthouse on it, and it reveals that Constantine's in there. And when Constantine finds out what's going on, he pulls Swamp Thing, as in Alec Holland Swamp Thing, out of his like heaven that he is, and we see a little bit of that in this issue where he's with Abby, he's with a daughter, and he is pulled out from that. He's pulled out of the real world, and Constantine wants him to fight the evil Swamp Thing, and that's where we left off with the first issue. This issue, follows on from that. Alec, I'll call him Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is not pleased about this. He wants to go back. He doesn't want to be here. But of course, the little girl is sweet enough, and he's reminded that he wants to save the humans and all that. So we get a kind of traditional story. So issue 1 was great. Issue 2 is also pretty great. I'll just get it out the way quickly.
Yeah, a lot. If I remember right, the first one, it felt a lot longer than it was, just because there was a lot of setup and stuff. This one read really quick. For being a bigger book. How many pages is this? About 60? 64?
No, it's only about I think it was like 48. It's not.
Really? Oh man, okay. Yeah, this one read pretty quick. I was surprised how quick I got through it. The pace on it was really good, but from the time it starts and we see Alec in his heaven, so to speak, with Tefe and Abby, and you're like, oh, what's going on here? And then the way that he gets pulled out and how crushing that is. And then when he finds out who pulls him out is none other than Constantine. It's just this realization.
And Constantine says that if you kill me, you'll never get back to your your wife and that. So naturally, Swamp Thing's like, you're a bastard. You're just a bastard. Yeah. So Swamp Thing goes to check out what's going on, and we have this monstrous Swamp Thing killing people with his evil mouth and all the rest of it. And we get a fight between them, and it all looks really nice. There's some great 2-page spreads throughout this. And we get more of the parliaments talking, and Swamp Thing talks to the Parliament of Trees, and they're like, hey, like, we let you go, and we chose to let you be free, but now you're interfering, so what the hell are you doing? And he's like, I can't let you do this. It's like, look, the humans have ruined everything. Like, we're going to take them out and start fresh. So Swamp Thing's like Abby wouldn't be able to live with this if I chose them over saving people. I have to make the hero's choice, even though I want to go back home, even though I want to leave and go back with them. So the little girl ends up like throwing rocks at the evil Swamp Thing and putting herself in danger to save Swamp Thing. The dad ends up whacking him with a hammer as well. So this is a great fight scene. There's great 2-page layouts with back and forth. I love how evil the evil Swamp Thing looks with the big sort of Nemesis style mouth. Yeah,
he's got that, and he's got like these tendrils coming off of him. Like he's just almost like a force of nature versus like an avatar like Alec is. He's less human than anything.
And Swamp Thing ends up stomping on his head to kill him. Although he does tell them, make sure you burn the body because he will come back.
Burn it. Yeah. I also like what the Parliament tells him is like, okay, well, you've made your choice. You're siding with humanity. There'll be no more resurrection, basically. Like,
oh yeah, he's cut off from the powers. Yeah.
You're So whatever power he has until he's dead. So this is like for keeps. Like Alec can't just like recklessly throw himself into these situations. So when we see him fight monsters and stuff, there's definitely stakes there.
Yeah, and there's a really sweet moment where the little girl like gets some like seaweed and starts like bandaging Swamp Thing up because he's hurt and he's not healing anymore because he's not got the powers.
And he's still pissed at Constantine.
Yeah, who's disappeared as well, might we add?
Right. Right.
But it's just a sweet moment though. There's a great bit of the art where Swamp Thing kind of smiles because this little girl's helping him. And
well, that's what I was getting at when he said he's still pissed at Constantine, and then the little girl comes over, and you're getting, the way that she's drawn is very similar to Teffy that we had seen in his Paradise. So we're getting the vibes that he's, this little girl is pure, and that she's, kind of the case that he's going to use that humanity's still good and worth saving.
Yeah. So the Parliaments basically grow stuff out, like we see stuff growing out of the head of the bad guy, and they basically say, look, that didn't work. We put all of our effort into this one being. That was a bad idea. We have to like combine our forces. And they basically form, like in the water, an army of these concoctions that are part green, part red, and part rot. So it's like super grotesque stuff, and we get this big army of like monsters coming from the water. It's like a great 2-page layout, it's a 2-page spread, and it's these like ugly ass things where part of them look Swamp Thingy, part of them look rotty, part of them look flesh. It's this just concoction of everything. They're all working together.
Plant zombies that are coming up out of the water, but they also have this heft and bulk.
It's like they have tumors and they have growths and stuff like that. So all the forces are combining to take on the last of the humans and Swamp Thing. But Constantine has magically went to the astral plane, in his basement he's speaking to Dead Man, and he wants to be taken to someone in particular. Well, Swamp Thing starts to fight the monsters, and he's like, I don't know if I can win this, but I'll try. So it's looking, quite poor for him. There's a great 2-page spread again where he's got like a tentacle wrapped around him as he's trying to punch like a monster. There's a lot of great artwork in this issue, much like the first one. So we go to like the Nana Parbat Mountains, to wherever Constantine's looking for. There's a lot of animals. There's like a lion, a tiger, all that stuff. And you're sort of trying to like, okay, who's he going to talk? Because he keeps talking about she. Like we get a her. We notice a her. And then the reveal at the end of the issue is that it's Animal Woman. It's Maxine grown up. And she's like and she's like, what's going on with the red? The red's like acting weird right now. The animals are all scared. So it seems like the ally that Swamp Thing's going to get potentially in issue 3 is Maxine grown up as Animal Woman, which is kind of nuts. So
and she's there with the animals, and it's what we get from, because her mom shows up too, right? Her mom's the old woman that stops Constantine and Deadman almost at the gates, and he's like, I'm here to talk to her, and she's like, well, she's not going to get involved because there's only so many few animals left. So to me, that's saying that also, are we sure that she's going to want to join up with Swamp Thing? Exactly. Or maybe they're going to have to,
honestly, if they hadn't said Maxine, I wouldn't have thought it was her because her hair's like black. I'm used to her being a little redhead. So obviously she's got the Animal Man logo on her shirt, which is fair enough. But I wouldn't have assumed direct daughter. I would have assumed maybe like descendant or something like further down the line. But so the idea that, because obviously we've had green and red stories before with Animal Man and Swamp Thing, it's a very natural twist they throw in here.
This almost feels like a continuation of Lemire's Animal Man, a little bit. Absolutely. That's why this feels so fitting, is because he was writing Animal Man when they were doing that green and red stuff. So it feels like a kind of like almost the end of the world story, like for his like Animal Man run. Even though Animal Man himself isn't in it. It's an interesting little pivot. I think it's really interesting because obviously that first issue was all these new characters. It was this evil Swamp Thing, and other than the idea of the Parliaments and the green and the red and the rot, it wasn't until the very end of the issue that you got these characters that we knew, and we got the return of the real, proper Swamp Thing. Likewise with this issue, it's hit us with this new character. Well, not new, but like a
You know,
Right.
a character we know in some form showing up at the end, and it feels like the most natural fit in the world for where the story's going. Like, it could have been predictable. Admittedly, we didn't predict anything because we didn't remember anything because it's been 2 years since the first issue.
Yeah.
But like, really good stuff. It feels like a natural fit, and I'm excited to see like Maxine and Swamp Thing like sort of team up to take on like these monstrosities in the last issue.
Yeah.
Which will hopefully be in a couple of months.
Yes. So I just checked, and also the on sale date for the first issue was December 28th, 2021. So it's been like 14 months in between issues. So hopefully we don't have to wait that long for the next one.
Honestly, I felt longer than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I felt longer than that.
So, but yeah, I mean, as of right now, we're getting the trade of all 3 in August. So you got to think that 3 is going to be out before then.
Well, the 3 was solicited for, I think, April.
Okay.
Or maybe it was March. It was March or April. I don't know whatever month it was.
Well, yeah. I'm excited to see where this goes.
But to be fair, issue 2 was solicited for whenever a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Skeptical and all that. But, I mean, yeah, it feels like whatever delayed it, maybe it was like something in one of the personal lives of the creators. You know, maybe Doug Mankey had something he couldn't draw for a while. I don't know what it was. But regardless, it was nice to finally get issue 2, and it's going to make a hell of a trade when it's done, I suspect. But I love a good Swamp Thing story, and this is a good Swamp Thing story with a lot of horror in it. I think Swamp Thing's at its best when there's like an element of horror and kind of like the forces that are bigger than us, like fighting against us, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to track down the Alan Moore stuff now. Just between the announcement that we got with the movies and the whole Constantine of this, you know, and how much he's part of that Alan Moore run, you know, and like you talked about the horror aspect. I'm gonna have to get there eventually.
So there you go. What are you going to give Swamp Thing Green Hell issue 2?
I'm gonna give this a 9.
Yeah, honestly, I can't argue with that. 9 out of 10 for me as well. That was the thing I was looking forward to the most this week, because it was just nice to have it back. And I feel like we've not talked about a Jeff Lemire comic in ages. Yeah,
I can't even tell you the last one that he's done for DC.
He did that Batman Joker one. It was like a 3-issue mini and a one shot.
Oh, that's right.
It was a Black Label
about the
book.
Psychiatrist, right?
Yeah, but that must have been that was probably before the first issue of this.
Killer Smile.
Yeah, that was the one. Killer Smile. Yeah. So if Jeff Lemire wants to come back and do something at some point, that'd be lovely. But I get he's doing his indie work and all that. I get it. But I've missed Jeff Lemire at DC.